What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Daily Battle. Today we're speaking with chef and restaurant owner Marvin Palomo. We're talking about dealing with crisis, divine timing, responsibility of being a chef and leading a team, and his new Italian restaurant, Liliana. Enjoy the show.
Daily Battle Podcast.
Let's get it.
Okay, guys, today we're here with a pretty long-time friend of mine and very talented individual, Marvin Palomo. How you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Man, this is awesome.
Tell us a little bit about who you are.
So my name is Marvin Palomo. I just opened up Liliana restaurant, and I'm a chef in Toronto.
Awesome. How are things going?
Great. It's just been a huge blessing. Thank you for having me. I think you're talking to me at like a really perfect time, in a sense of, if you were to ask me to do this last year, I don't know if I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy how where sort of life takes you, in a sense.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that.
Just last year, I was the executive chef and partner at Vela in Toronto, and after New Year's, there's a tragic fire, which sort of put us and my team in a sort of different direction, and we had the opportunity to open up my own restaurant in September, and named Liliana, and here we are. So it's just been it's been sort of crazy ever since.
Yeah, I can imagine the change. It sounds like it put you on an awesome path, though.
Yeah, it's just, it's sort of, I think ever since we opened the restaurant, I don't think I've ever really started taking the time to sort of grasp everything that sort of happened last year. And I would say in the most tragic way, and to finish off in the most positive way. It's been a cool, last year was a very important year, just in my personal and, let's just say, professional growth, for sure.
Yeah. Talk to me about the, obviously going through a situation where, what you guys built there was incredible, and going through that transition. How was that for you?
So I think I was the chef there for 4 years. It was an amazing experience. I worked with so many great people that came into those doors, and I guess like to be led with like Robin Goodfellow and Amanda Bradley, who are like amazing professionals in the hospitality industry, and to sort of be trusted at the age that I was, and to sort of lead, I would say, the food program there. And I guess by the end of it, sort of the overall operations there. We had an amazing team by the end of it. New Year's was probably one of the best services I've ever worked. We did like a tasting menu for like 150 people, probably 900 to 1,000 plates that night. It was insane. But it was one of those services that you'll always remember, in a sense where everybody was sort of on that Zen level, I would say. Every single person on that team was just so dialed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys are all athletes,
that
right?
Flow state.
Flow state.
Yeah.
It's very hard for restaurants, especially with a big restaurant that you have, for a whole team to be on that flow state. Mm. And for the staff of, I would say, 30 people that we had, it was one of those services that everybody's on that flow state,
So were you the one that curated your team, or was that through the restaurant? Like, did you actually get to pick your team that's in
Yeah. When I first got there, I inherited the team there, which was, they're amazing individuals, but over time people leave, and then that's when I sort of, you build slowly, build the team. And
what did you look for in sort of that realm of, like, you needed to build this team when certain pieces started falling through or changing careers? What did you find was important to you? Because obviously the New Year's Eve was the pinnacle moment that you realized that you've created this beautiful team, right, that found this flow state.
Right.
So as you were curating your team, what were you looking for?
I think I think I can relate with Connor. Like, me and Connor played on we played basketball together. And
you're sick, by the way.
And I grew up playing basketball. I have two older brothers, and I think I relate a lot of the philosophies I learned playing basketball, and I sort of apply that into the kitchen. You know what I mean? And or just any team sport in a sense, whereas that everybody has to be on the same page.
Sure.
And whenever you're on a team and someone has a different ulterior motive, that's when sort of things start to go downhill. And for me, when we're picking these certain individuals, is that we want to make sure that the people that we're bringing in are on the same page, and that I'm super transparent in terms of what are your goals here and what can I do for you, because I already know what I need from you. Now, and I always say to the people coming to our doors that, what do you need from me? In a sense, right? It's a give and take. You go into, especially if you're a young chef or a young aspiring individual going into a job, like you will have your goals for sure. And I just want to be transparent in terms of what I can do for them and what I need them to do for me, in a sense, right? And so we can sort of meet halfway. I think that's super important to any company, just so whenever that person is ready to go, then it just sort of like, you feel good about that.
I love that leadership approach too, of like, I feel like so often leaders are disconnected from how can they serve those that they're leading. You know what I mean? And to start with that is very interesting. I bet you get some very interesting responses.
Yeah, I think it's the team is everything for me, is because at the end of the day, obviously we have to make people happy that come in through the doors, and I cannot it doesn't make sense for me that these people will have a great time if the people around me or the people I'm working for me at least, aren't having a good time. You know what I mean? They have to love what they do in order to get the best out of every single person. I think that's the sort of philosophy. And even in the hiring process, I always say, I don't do the hiring. My team does the hiring, right? So I say, whenever anyone that comes to the kitchen or into the restaurant, they come and do a stage. And one, is this the right place for them? And then two, I ask the team, is this the person the right fit for us? Because I see the people I work with every single day, and they're in the restaurant, I see these people more than I see my own wife.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I spend a lot of time at the restaurant. So I got to make sure that the type of energy that we have into the space is really important.
It's nice that you consider the team as well, though, because I'm sure there's other places out there that are like, well, this is the cog that's going into the machine, and you guys now have to make it work. Whereas your approach is a little bit different. You're taking everybody's opinion of the team into that process as well. So listen,
right? I'm not the one working beside that person it's the team that's going to be working with this person all the time. You know what I mean? So they got to be able to sort of work together and get the best out of each other.
That's a rare quality though, right? Because that's a very mature quality from somebody so young, in that you're looking at the value of your team like holistically and saying, does this fit with you? Because that's how you create the flow. That's 100%. How you create success, right?
It's not really about the skill, you can teach. It's my job to sort of teach that skill to the people working under me, but it's not my job to sort of I would say like see if you're a good person or not. I don't know that. You know what I mean? Then that's like, I can't teach that.
Well, and with that, you also don't want to micromanage the team too, right? You want to let the team do their or perform their skills, right?
Right.
So you reach this moment, you guys do a New Year's service that sounds crazy, 900 to 1,000 places. Unbelievable. And you've obviously accomplished like a really good flow between the workers, your staff. How long after that was the accident there?
So I think we finished off the year with a bang, 2024. So that New Year going into 2025, we closed the restaurant for a day. I meet up with some of my staff. We go out for Chinese food. That's the only thing that's open. I go home. Whenever we're ready to open up the restaurant in a second, I get a call at the day we're supposed to open at 2 a.m. From one of my partners, and he called me that the restaurant was on fire. So I was at the restaurant that morning at like 3 a.m. and then there's just like ambulance everywhere, news people everywhere, and it was just a disaster.
Oh my gosh.
And it took us we probably weren't able to go into the restaurant probably till a week after. And it was just, that was it. Like, it was, the damage was too much for it to sort of, I would say, open up the restaurant. We're still trying to figure it out right now, but it's just like a $6 million operation, right? That's not something you can sort of build overnight. Yeah.
So talk to us about, from that moment, to where you are now? What's the process been like?
Like it's not like it was crazy. Like something as traumatizing as that you work so hard to build this team, right? You like to get to that flow state. You've built, people trusted in you to sort of lead them and help them to where they need to go. And, I thought I was going to be at this place for a while, and for it to sort of just be gone like that, it was insane. And the way it went down, and it was super tragic. And, I didn't even know if I wanted to be in Toronto. Like, I was considering leaving, and luckily my wife booked us a trip. I think months prior, we went to, we did Umrah in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, you went?
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was, we went in April, and that sort of just after that trip, going to Makkah and going to Medina. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Are you familiar with that?
The pilgrimage?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like a Muslim pilgrimage where you go to Medina, which is a city in Saudi Arabia, and then you go to Makkah as well, which is like the pillar of Islam, one of the pillars of, and then you just sort of spend some time there and reflect. And
That was planned before this all went down.
Yeah, we were
Wow.
supposed to go, and then what are the chances that this trip sort of just fell through, and in coming back, I just felt like weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and it's the past is the past. It's time to move on. And thankfully, one of my partners, offered me like let's do something, and then so we had this opportunity to open up a restaurant this year. And what's crazy is that we got the space September 1st, and we opened up September 25th. So it took us 25 days to open up this restaurant, which is pretty unheard of.
Unbelievable.
It's insane. It was insane. I don't recommend it, but it's insane.
Well, so
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about Liliana and the backstory there, the type of cuisine you guys are doing.
So after going from Vela, a restaurant on King Street, and now I finally have this opportunity to do something on my own. And it's like, listen, like something like that was so tragic, and we now have this space which is can only fit 30 people. It's a beautiful space, the old Dandelion. It's such a institution in the city, and it was obviously it's very nerve-wracking to take such an amazing space, but the opportunity was too good to be true. And I just wanted it to be as thoughtful as possible, so we named it after Liliana, who was my chef I worked for when I was in Italy. And the food that we're doing is like Italian, I'd say, sharing plates, which is I love to eat, like nothing pretentious. We just really want to create a space where everybody can go to. And it's sort of a reflection of all the chefs I worked for in Europe, or when I was in Asia, my chefs here in Toronto. So it's a mixture of Italian with a lot of Asian influence in terms of the way we cook.
Yeah, it's like an homage to your teachers.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
it is unbelievable. I've eaten it. Go check that out, people, for sure. Yeah.
I think what's kind of neat about the story, even before it opened, though, you had this pillar that you leaned on in your faith that helped sort of reframe the situation of tragedy. And, you went and you did your pilgrimage, and when you came back, I don't know if the word that I'm looking for is refreshing, or it might even just be reframed, but you had this ability to reframe what had happened and sort of make a shift. Do you put a lot of the belief in your faith into that change and into that growth as well? Did you use that as a pillar of okay, I'm now at sort of this crosshairs or this crossroads in my life?
Right.
Was it something in your faith that allowed you to move past that, do you think?
100%. I don't, I went there, and you pray, and you pray for the things that you want in this life, and those were the things. I just didn't I remember just praying, and I just give me a second chance. I need a second, those are the things you sort of pray for. Obviously, you pray for things for your family, your loved ones, and this is what hospitality, this is what I love to do. And for the second chance to be this is that's something I couldn't even imagine. It's insane.
I mean, you've been dedicated to it for a long time.
Yeah, I think it's a moment
I still remember we were we were promoting at Lost and Found. And I think it was like your last night here or something before
I moved to Asia. Yeah,
yeah,
it was crazy.
yeah. So obviously the second chance came. I mean, I'd love to hear, you know, going through a situation like that where like something you've worked so hard to build, you know, in an instant. How's it changed your approach now with the new restaurant? Is it different or?
You know, like this concept was something that I was sort of like always had on top of my head for a while now, even before I took the job at Vela. But I'm thankful that I did take that job at Vela because, you know, it's the things I've learned, the people that I've met have sort of just refined this concept that's happening now. And in terms of like, I'd say the faith and where it's at right now is just, you know, we're operating on obviously resilience. At the same time, we're operating on gratitude. Like every single person, like even the people that are my staff are all most of them are my staff from Vela. So like they feel what I felt when that happened. You know, you know, that was very important for me because everything that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, like we have a chip on our shoulder. Like, listen, like we went through this year, we have another shot to do this again. Like, let's just be thankful to be operating. Like, it's just not a regular job for a lot of these people at the restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like they know what we all have been through and like what we're trying to achieve at the restaurant.
Yeah. I think that's cool too, because from that perspective, it almost gives you an extra edge. You know what I mean? Like you have this edge now where you're like, you know what, this is our, like, we're so grateful to be able to do this again.
Yeah.
And gracious in that experience that it's like, okay, this is our new shot.
Yeah.
And putting it in that lens is very different than, oh, I just got a new job.
Have you heard, I don't want to butcher this, but it's something along the lines of if two people go through a traumatic situation together, like an airplane almost crashes or something like that.
Right.
They will feel a closer bond to one another oftentimes than either one of them would feel with their own family members after going through something like that. But I guess like the point being, I think like when you go through like a shared trauma, let's call it, there's like an understanding or something between folks. I don't know.
I think you're a little bit emotionally linked, probably. Like there's something there that, whether it's, you know, an airplane crash or a fire or any of those tragedies, like you become linked with the people that are involved with it, even on like it much deeper than just surface level emotions, because it's such a deeply rooted emotion of tragedy, right? Like especially the restaurant and stuff like that, like that's your livelihood, right? And so when that gets taken away, I think people, like the team's not going to look at that and be like, oh, got to move on. You know, you actually have to pick yourself up and, you know, luckily you had your faith that was backing you and you had, you know, a very strong pillar of faith. And so I think for me, when I look at just the way that you've built this scenario and rebuilt the new restaurant is it's much more than just a restaurant. It's much more than just a passion project. This is it almost feels like you've poured everything into it now because this is your second chance that you weren't even expecting.
Yeah. And you know, like it's, because I've been doing it for a good amount of time, it's literally, I wanted it to be as meaningful and like making it like stay away from just like a random concept. You know what I mean? I think Toronto has all these random concepts that's been opening up lately. And it's just like, I really wanted this to just keep this as personal as possible.
Yeah.
You know, this restaurant could have easily been like a tasting menu restaurant, you know, like it could have been, but we wanted to sort of stay away from that because we wanted to just make sure that everybody was able to come to this, you know, to this space, and not just that certain demographic or that 1%.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just been such a crazy experience ever since.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely from the heart. Like you can see, even just the way that you're explaining it, you know, Connor's deeply rooted in spirituality as well. And that's one thing that I admire about both of you guys is that you have these pillars of religion or spirituality that you guys have this vision that, you know, I think a lot of people might not have access to because they're not tapped into that part of their life. And I think that for both of you, one of the things that I admire is that you guys have I think it's gratitude. I think it's gratitude and humility that I see with both of you, where and it comes from a background of whether it's religion or spirituality, you have an ability to see it through a different lens of opportunity, really.
Right.
I would love to hear about that from you, Marvin. Just making that commitment to a new faith and what that process was like for you.
To be honest with you, like a lot of it had to do with, I guess, my current wife now. Like, when I first met her, like I was like she was Muslim. She was always Muslim. She grew up Muslim, and I was very religious at the time. I was Catholic, and as the relationship grew, and as I did, like I grew on into my career, we sort of talked about it, and she introduced me in what that sort of like she opened the door to that sort of faith, and I took a deeper dive, and it felt right. It just made sense for me, and we got married and during COVID, and I was embraced in this like a different, like a new community, a different community was still, but I'm still able to sort of connect with the life that I built as well, and it sort of intertwined beautifully, I guess, in my career and my personal life, and it's been cool.
That's awesome.
So it was a relatively, the adjustment wasn't anything drastic. Doesn't sound like.
I guess like it was, like depends. I guess it was. I guess my parents were always, they double questioned it, but but they're always supportive in terms of like what my decisions were, and like they loved Azima, and that's it. Like they grew to sort of accept the fact.
Were you? I don't really remember. Like I know we came up together doing nightclub stuff and whatnot.
At the time, no, I was not.
You're not drinking.
I was, yes, for sure.
You were for sure.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
But before,
yeah.
But I mean, like, was it like an alcohol at the window thing when that took place, or was there an adjustment period there? Or were you even drinking around that time?
I just, like it just stopped. Like it took, like it just didn't really need it in my life anymore, and it just made me more focused in a sense. I was just more dialed and a lot healthier, and things in my life changed. Like certain people, like you don't hang out with certain people anymore, and it's a lot more positive in a sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, we came up around some of the similar folks, and
I'm sure like the thing is like energy is huge, and when you're young, you're surrounded by such different energy from like so many other people. You're meeting all these people, and you're doing all these things, and you don't know what this sort of energy sort of coming into your life. And I think as you get older and start experiencing things, you tend to realize like, okay, now you can be a lot more pickier with the people that you want to bring into your life or put your time into.
For sure.
Whereas where you're younger, you just want to bring everyone into your life. Now you're a lot more pickier when you're older, for sure.
100%. You start to get the concept of time too, where it's like,
yeah,
how quickly it can move.
Yeah.
And I think too, the faster people make that change to whether it's sobriety or whatever it might be, is like, so I haven't drank since I was 21, 22. And so I realized that really early, where I was like, I actually don't need you around. You know what I mean? And you find that you hone in these relationships that are really important. You find the people that give to you as much as you give to them.
Yeah.
And that becomes like, it's almost like you're dialed with your friend group a lot earlier, or as soon as that sort of happens. And we've talked about this at lengths, where, you have relationships, whether it's from the club scene or the concert scene or whatever it might be, and everybody's out partying, and then you all of a sudden are not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, are you still in the group? And as soon as that question arises, it's always a very interesting thing for me to watch from the outside, because I'm very black and white. So it's like, well, just don't hang out with them.
Well, that was the thing. I think, a lot of my friends, well, most of my friends aren't Muslim, right? Like, and when I did make that jump, they're super supportive in what we did. And like, they knew that great. I was transitioning into like a different life, and they were willing to sort of accept that. And,
Perfect.
Whenever we would hang out,
that's a real
super
friend,
supportive.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. That's real friends for sure.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that I think when it comes to any of that stuff, people, if they don't understand it, they automatically push against it. You know what I mean? And they're not necessarily willing to learn about it.
Yeah.
100%.
And you're the same on the spirituality. So like we've talked before where you're like, I don't think these people get it.
Yeah. I mean, and my practices, so to speak, are outside of like the realm of more traditional religion or so forth, which I think it's even harder to kind of explain. But I think on the topic of drinking and so forth, before we go on from there, it's weird being, my first job was in a bar, and then I worked at the Keg as a server, and then I was a nightclub guy. And I've always been someone who's craved community. I always want to like talk to, connect with, network with people. And when you come up through, basically until I was 30, every job was in some realm of hospitality. It's synonymous with drinking. And I think when you, like, even I've noticed it, where it's like you tell some of the people that you've developed relationships around those environments that, hey, I'm not going to be drinking or partying the same way anymore. They feel like they're losing you or something. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, you're not going to be around. And I know for me, it's kind of just recharting some friendships. And to your point, you lose some people, but the people who are really there will, support you through any transition.
I think a big part of it too is like let's say, even just like in a context of like, I'm no longer going to drink. Doesn't have to be for any religious reason or any other reason other than I just don't want to do it anymore. I think the easiest way to break away from people is the ones that start joking about you being sober. Like, oh yeah, we'll see how long it's going to last. Or, oh yeah, we'll see this. Or, oh yeah, we'll see that. Cause like those people obviously don't have faith in you anyways.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think sort of through my journey of not doing it for so long, the hardest part, even when coaching people through it, is they're like, well, they're making fun of me. And I'm like, then they're not your friend.
Yeah.
You
Also,
know what I
who
mean?
cares?
And,
Yeah.
you were lucky enough to have a very supportive friend group. And I think that to me, it's like, well, stick with those people. They're the ones that want to see you win. Right. And so
Yeah,
I think
100%.
for me, that's amazing, because that's also your support team for the new restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. And so how was that with them when you were making this transition? Like, how was the support from them?
Huge. Like, it's just like they know this is something that I was sort of was working towards like my whole life. Like, it's just, I always knew I wanted to do this since I was in like elementary school.
That's
you know
cool.
what I mean? So I love food. I think more so now. I loved cooking food more so now. I've sort of realized the fact that I loved hospitality more. Is I think what food got me into hospitality, and then learning more about hospitality made me realize I love doing this. I love being able to sort of, cater or make people happy in terms of what they need, and how we can sort of just change their day within the whatever 2 hours or 2 or 3 hours they're at the restaurant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you're providing an experience.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So the accident happens with Vela. When the opportunity came up for the new restaurant, did you know, like right off the bat, like this is going to be Liliana?
When the opportunity came, we don't know. It sort of just happened in a sense. Like, it was never not right away. We were going through like concepts. We were going through names, and I was just like having lunch one day with my wife, and we're just like, boom, like it just sort of just popped in my head.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And what's crazy is that when we came out with, I think, the first Instagram post, Liliana, the family from like the chef I worked for, she passed away, right? Like, their family reached out to me, and was just like so thankful, and like they just
Beautiful.
reached out and gave me like all the love and blessings for sure.
That's amazing.
It was crazy. It was a crazy experience.
That's so beautiful. I can't believe that you guys were able to get a service going in 25 days or whatever. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, none of we got the door at we got the keys September 1st, and like my staff didn't start till like 5 days before. Like, there was no training program. Like, I just had its menu. I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. Let's just prep it. Let's open the door. We'll figure it out. And that's what we're doing.
Wow. So outside of, obviously, very cool that you had like a pillar of faith to help go through a situation like that. I'm sure, facing that type of adversity, having something to grip to is great. I'd love to hear what else was like in your arsenal to overcome something like that.
Like, as you come back from this trip, but you just realize that there's so many amazing people that come into your life, and that was it. Like, just as long as you're surrounded by really good people, and I think that is enough for you to sort of move forward. You know, like, and it was also a reflection that like life is not easy. Like I think everyone has this perception that like, you know, we have to live this life with, as like, I would say without pain. Like you need that pain. Yeah, I think you need to go through these struggles to really define who you want to be. Like it's just it just tests you. You know what I mean? It's like taking a loss at whatever game that you like, if you're, because you used to be a fighter, right? Or
You're still fighting.
yeah, right. So like whatever, like that, I'm sure if you lose a fight, like what is,
Yeah, I think
that's a huge learning experience, isn't it?
I mean, I was always taught that nobody remembers like a true champion's losses. They remember their wins. And so it's not about the loss that happens at the time. It's how you come back from it. And it's as like cliche, Rocky bullshit kind of saying, but it's like, it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back
100%.
up. And so I think that for me, what was interesting, what you were saying was that like, you know, it's about how you came back, you know, and I think that story is going to be your legacy because it's like a phoenix from the ashes. You know what I mean? That's far more,
Yeah.
that tells a lot about your character, you know?
And like looking at that project too, like Liliana, you can tell I can feel Marvin in that project from front to back, the way that you guys rolled it out. At least it seemed that way.
Yeah. Because it's crazy. It's crazy. Like these are, and then I don't know if we talked about this, but these are the knives that like I got this, each and every knife at a different time in my life, in my career. Just because as a chef, you go through your career, you need different tools. These are all from the same knife maker. These are all Takedas, which are very hard to get nowadays. And these are the knives that like I pulled out of the fire. Like as you can see, like some of the handles are missing, and because the fire was just so hot. And
Emotionally alone, that just sounds insane.
but shout out to Olivia from Tosho Knife Arts. So I got all my knives from her, and when I brought these to her, she reached out to Takeda themselves, and then they heard what happened, and they literally stopped what they were doing, their production, and made me brand new knives and shipped it.
Oh, beautiful.
And she took these knives and framed it for us. So this was the last thing we hung up on the wall.
Yeah.
So this is like at the restaurant. So it's just it's a super, very personal like piece at the restaurant.
Yeah, I remember when you sauced the invite for the opening night.
Yeah.
A unbelievable meal. I actually saved the oxtail ravioli for the next time I come. I was like, I'm gonna wait to eat that. So I was like, I gotta go back for it. But
Yeah.
I remember going down to the bathroom and seeing those, and I think I stopped and ran to the kitchen. Was like, are those your knives? And I was like, I don't think when you hear fire in a restaurant, like you think what you think.
Yeah.
But then to see like your tools in that condition, and then also to see them now as like a monument in your new project. Like,
Well, yeah, I think that's, if that fire never happened, Liliana would never happen.
exactly.
So I think that is, these knives are sort of the bridge between the two.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just
Beautiful, man.
It's been a beautiful experience, and
So I think, obviously we've talked a lot about that situation and overcoming adversity. I'd love to hear if there's one thing, you were to leave the listeners with, given the crazy year or whatever it's been that you've had. I'd love to hear.
Like I guess it does sound cliche, and I think you've known me for a while, but I've always lived by the words, by work hard, stay humble. And if after this sort of situation, I just kept my head down and just keep moving. Just keep working hard. Like don't ever like stop with that philosophy, and it's got me here today. So
Beautiful.
that's what it is. And those are the words I lived by when I first started this career, and it's the words I live by till now. So
Amazing. What's next for Marvin?
trying to get through 1 year at least for the restaurant, and we'll see what happens from there.
Wicked.
Hopefully we can grow the business a little bigger, and we can get a lot more talented people involved for sure.
Amazing. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me.
Short on this one. We'll have to have you back when we come by the restaurant. And man,
Please.
always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
My guy.
Great to meet you, brother.